last meeting. We have a process for public comment. We have public comment on our agenda under item 14. But since 2002, this board has always asked for public comment before a vote's taken. We feel like that's very important because it gives you an opportunity to interact in the meetings. But there has to be structure and there has to be discipline in how it's handled. At the last meeting, I made a motion to, if you have been ruled out of order, and there was an individual who had been ruled out of order for public attack, personal attacks, that the board would be the one to decide whether or not you had the opportunity to address in public comment. Nobody's taken anybody's right to public comment away on this board, and I will make that perfectly clear, despite the comments of being called a Hitler and other things that some folks have done. This board is very transparent. Anytime anybody's ever asked us anything, we try to get you an answer. We try our best to be as transparent as we can. And unfortunately, a lot of this stuff goes back to a commissioner who willfully made a decision to breach confidential information. And, there's got to be accountability there. There are people who are looking to make investments in this community who are watching to see how this board handles that breach of confidentiality that was stated publicly that they did it on purpose and that they would do it again. That is very disturbing to people who are looking to invest here in our community. It's unfortunate, but this board has to deal with it. We cannot just simply let something of that magnitude go. And I feel very strongly about it. I think my colleagues feel very strongly about it. We've got a lot at risk here, and people are watching to see how it's being handled. So you can criticize me all you want. You can call me Hitler or whatever you want. I don't care. We're doing what we feel like is in the best interest of Hart County citizens, and we're going to continue to do that. That's what we're elected to do, and we're going to continue to do what we've done. So I just wanted to say that. And it's unfortunate that not everybody's here tonight to be able to hear that, but it is being televised and it can be seen later on. Moving on to Commissioners' Reports, District 2.
The only thing I got is I went to a funeral today. Captain Stan Elrod, he was the Region 2 district captain. He got run over, I believe it was like September the 3rd. Anyway, he was over like the game wardens like in this area, and he was a good lawman, and he'd been with the department about 28 years. So if y'all pray for that family. He had like wife and 2 kids, and y'all keep them in your prayers. That's all I got.
Okay. District 3.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I know we've been challenged in the last few meetings. Been a lot of talk about commissioners taking a drug test, and I just want to go on record. I'm willing to take a drug test but I'm going to go to a medically qualified facility for a drug test. Okay, we're not going to meet out here in the parking lot and do a drug test. And also I would say in that condition that it would be at their expense, not the county taxpayers' expense, because it's not required by the county. So if anyone, if we're going to do this drug test, if you're willing to pay for it in a medical facility, I'm willing to go. I just want to go on record. That's all I got.
All right. Moving on to old business, item 12A, amendment to Article 7, Utilities Facility Installation. This will be our third and final reading. This is just clarifying who's responsible for post-utility inspections and that kind of thing. Joe, anything you want to add?
No, I think I covered it.
Okay. Can I get a motion that we take this as a third and final reading?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner Teasley. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Commissioner Sayer. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Item 12B, and Terrell, I forgot to mention this. Do we want to go ahead and do the adoption tonight? Or you want to do the...
Well, I got just a short presentation of the numbers, and we can do it tonight, or we can do it next week. We got to go back and revisit the total taxes next meeting when the school board finishes up, so we can do it either way you want to do it.
Just go ahead and let's go through the presentation, and we'll adopt the budget at the next meeting. It won't take effect October 1st anyway.
Correct.
So.
Basically, on general government, just to show everybody kind of where the money's spent at. If you'll see there, the bulk of all county dollars are spent in public safety side, law enforcement, EMS, fire, the public safety sector, where the bulk of the money is spent. Just to show you, they get the biggest part of the pie. We try to keep, this board tries to keep your tax dollars strictly for essential government services. Can you also do that? Basically, the ending draft budget that we adopted at the last budget meeting was $13,231,710. This year's been a wild year. Usually we compare it to the year we're in, to the others, but this one hadn't been anything close to normal. 2020 had. So we backed up to the last audited year, which was fiscal year 19, and those are audited numbers. There's actual numbers. And over the 2-year period, there's a 5.63% increase, which averaged out about 2.8% per year. And the revenue, if you look at it, the same. I went back to 19 to try to come up with a number on the revenue. The revenue, of course, is balanced at $13,231,710. But if you look at the physical audited numbers, revenue for 19, it was $13,539,922. We budgeted a little over $300,000 less revenue for 21 than we actually had in 19. If you look where it comes from, at the top, we go over the budget the first of every month. 44% of those dollars come from property tax. The 23.22 comes from lost taxes, sales tax, and the other 38% comes from other sources. That's vehicle tag fees, things like that. And this is the 5-year digest that was advertised in the Hart Sun 2 weeks ago, well, after the last meeting. And they have voted to tentatively roll the millage rate back. In other words, when your evaluation goes up just because they reevaluate your property, we have to take that into account and reduce the millage rate, or it's a backdoor tax increase. So we'll get to that number in just a minute on what it was. This gives you the actual tax digests. If you'll notice, there was $150 million worth of growth, but if you look at it, that 32,180.23, that was just from reevaluations. In other words, nothing changed hands, just the valuation of the property went up. So we take that out. Actually, in this form, it brings it out and lowers our millage rate down to take care of that growth. And if you look there, it rolls back from the rate it was last year back to 5.710, and that's a flat with no tax increase. And again, people, we go over this sales tax, the lost tax every month, and this is how much it saves the taxpayers from their property tax. 2.5 meals, a little over 2.5 meals in Arkansas, or 23% of the budget. So it makes a significant difference. And not all counties use that to offset the millage rate. They can use it to do several things with it, but they have always chosen to use it to offset the millage rate on property. And that's about it. It's just a quick summary. The budget's been on our website for 2 weeks. There's a hard copy out here. Anybody more than welcome to look at it on our website, or come by here and look at the hard copy. You're welcome to it. But we'll take it and give people another 2 weeks to look at it if they want to, and we'll adopt it at the next meeting. The budget itself.
Okay. Any questions?
Good to go.
All right, we'll move on
I
to,
would make a comment, appreciate the work Terrell and his staff. I mean, that's a lot of work and for us to review over.
And like I say, all along, it's not me.
Right.
It's the folks making it easy on me, bringing in what they gotta have and not what they want to spend.
Wish list.
And most every department came in at or below what they was last year, except public safety. I mean, there's extra costs there that you can't do a lot about, but
It may be that look you're giving them.
no. I'm looking for all the help I can get.
okay, moving on to item 12C, sales tax and insurance premium tax rollback resolution for the year 2020.
And that's the statement that you, basically what we got, set the millage rate at 5.710 and the rollback rate of 2.566 for the lost money.
Where's the resolution?
I laid it on your desk there, I thought. Should be right there. It's the legal sheet laying up on that notebook right there.
All right, could I get a motion that we move forward with the sales tax and insurance premium rollback resolution, which will set the millage rate for both the unincorporated and incorporated areas of 5.710, and then we'll have the rollback of 2.566 mills.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Sayer, a second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is item 12D, final adoption of county M&O millage rate for tax year 2020.
And again, that's its rollback rate of 5.710.
Get a motion that we approve the final adoption of county M&O millage rate for tax year 2020.
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Commissioner Teasley. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Sayer. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is item 12E, Board of Health vacancies. We currently have a resignation on the Board of Health. Ms. Hilda Malden was serving a 6-year term that ends December 31st, 2020. She's since resigned from the Board of Health, so we'll need to advertise that one. What we need to do is get these other ones, because some on the Board of Assessors too. Let's just advertise them all at one time.
Okay, so all that again. Okay.
Just get us a summary and we'll go forward with advertising. Y'all put that in the form of a motion. We'll do them all at the same time.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Have a motion and a second to advertise all these openings at one time and have the staff compile them. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Item 12F, we took off the agenda because Commissioner Carter is not here. We will take that up at a later meeting when we release those executive session minutes. Item 12G, got a request from the city of Bowersville. There was a letter sent to us by Bowersville Mayor Pruitt Manley, and they're requesting that Hart County add East Main Street, West Main Street, and Adamstown Road to the speed limit ordinance for radar, and they're asking that the speed limits be set at 35 miles per hour. There have been some traffic studies done. This will have to be submitted to the DOT
Correct.
for review. The other thing I think that we need to do is that any of these other speed limit signs that are in the city of Bowersville that are on black and white have got to come down. come
It
back
will.
and become
Well,
light.
yeah. Once the approved speed limit is, the other ones will have to come down.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I'll put that in the form of a motion that we approve this contingent upon the DOT's blessing, and also that any speed limit signs on any other road that are in black and white have to be removed. Otherwise, we're going to have problems with this radar list. So is there a second?
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Dorsey, a second by Commissioner Teasley to add those. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise the right hand. Motion carried unanimously. I do want to say that I did speak to Sheriff Cleveland about this, and he was good with it. So.
Correct. And on your signs, it's got to come up and down. But where those signs are located is specified in the study. They won't necessarily come down. They may be changed to the approved speed limit.
But there's other roads up there, like College, just got speed limit signs on that need to be taken down.
Okay, I thought it was all.
That's where I'm going with
Okay.
that. Anything that's not on those three roads has got to come down.
Correct. You can't post a speed limit.
Right. Okay, moving on into new business, item 13A, mitigation plan resolution. This is hazardous mitigation plan update. It's approved by GEMA. It has to be submitted to them. It also has to be approved every 5 years. Updated and approved every 5 years. And we've got a resolution here to approve. Terrell, you got anything else you want to add to that?
Not really. Like I say, this is a 5-year rotation. We have to renew it. We have to update it every 5 years. And I use a contractor. FEMA pays for it. I use a contractor to update it with. I done the first one myself, and I didn't want to do it anymore. So I found that's a lot easier to use their money and hire a contractor to do it. But it is ready, and it's about 6 months behind. But it's because it hit right at the time all the COVID stuff hit and the state shut down. So that's why it's taking so long to get it through.
I make a motion we approve the resolution.
And authorize me to sign it.
Second.
You authorize the chairman to sign it. Yes.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sayer and a second by Commissioner Teasley authorizing the approval of the hazard mitigation plan and authorizing me to sign on behalf of the board. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Item 13B, closure of Long Point Park for the winter, beginning November the 30th, 2020 through March 1st, 2021. This is typical for what we do every year. Could I get a motion that we move forward with that?
I make that motion that we move forward with this closure.
I have a motion by Commissioner Teasley. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Sayer. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is annual auditor's engagement. This will be to perform our audit for this fiscal year that will be wrapping up. We'll have till March of next year to get that completed, and we do utilize a local accounting firm here in Birch and Crooms to do our audits. So could I get a motion that we approve the engagement of the annual auditor's function, and a letter to be signed by me, the commitment letter.
I make that motion to authorize the chairman and the administrator to sign.
Have a motion by Commissioner Sayer, second by Commissioner Teasley. Anything else you want to add, Terrell?
No, that's just standard procedure. We do it every year.
All right. Any more discussion? Not any public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda has come about by some discussions earlier in the year when we learned a lot about annexation. We received a request from the city of Hartwell for a property owner who has applied for voluntary annexation. This will be map and parcel I-56K-018. We just need to let the city know we're good with it. I did look at it. It meets all the criteria that I could see from a law standpoint.
Correct.
The definition of contiguous is definitely there. So can I get a motion that we send a letter to the city saying that we're in agreement, we'll have no objection to this annexation?
I'll make a motion. We'll send a letter to the city in agreement with this annexation.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sayers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is nomination of Mike Adams to serve on the Region 2 EMS Advisory Council. This is a good group. I've served on it before, and Hart County needs representation on there as well, and you've got the letter in here. And Terrell's recommendation is that we appoint him because as of September 1st, he's now our EMS director.
Correct. I meant to call that, covered that in the administrator's comment. I
So,
forgot.
can I get a motion that we submit the nomination of Mike Adams to serve on the Region 2 EMS Advisory Council?
I make that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Teasley. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sayer. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Item 13F, new state requirements involving temporary food service permitting for county-sponsored or non-profit sponsored events in unincorporated areas of the county. Terrell, I'll let you handle this one.
Basically, we've always signed over this responsibility to the health department every year. They check the restaurants here. They know a lot more about it than we do. But they've made a change in the law that now the local governing body has to be responsible for the permitting. We can contract with the health department for them to do the inspections, but we have to be the ones that issues the permits. The county will issue permits, the city will issue permits for anything within the city. But I would think, Walter, wouldn't we have to come up with some kind of ordinance to cover this on the permitting?
We will. I believe that there was a,
Didn't ACCG have something, a model ordinance for this?
the rulemaking, I did not think that it was completely true because the state health board created a rule to put this in place, and they had called for comments on it up to, I would think that right now it's in the packet of information, but it may not be a final rule yet. I think that what we would probably want to do, the written comments have to be submitted for September 15th. There is an actual public meeting by telephone tomorrow at 11 o'clock to make comments on it. But in all likelihood, they're really not going to consider much of a comment because they've got what they want here. And what I would suggest that we do would basically be to adopt the state rules on it. I'll take a look at it and see if we need to. I think we can do it by reference. Okay. Rather than
So you just want to not take any action tonight and take this up next meeting?
That's what I'll do.
Okay.
Because they've not actually finalized it. It'll probably still be in the same form.
Okay. So we'll take no action on item 13F. We'll move on to item 13G, Magnolia of North Georgia subdivision application.
This is a subdivision out of town and Lee Gray Road. It faces all county roads. It's just the fact it's a named subdivision, and it's been approved by the health department and the water and sewer authorities providing water for it. So this is just everything's in order. It just needs to be approved by the board.
I've got a question about this, and I didn't think about this. And I apologize, Commissioner Sayer, when we talked about this earlier. But I think we may cause ourselves a problem here. if we approve this and grant this variance,
No, this is not variance.
It's not.
This is,
hold on, I read that out.
that's the other, that's 13 acres.
This is about 6 something.
I was looking at the setback, my bad, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, we ain't got to that one yet. This is just a straight subdivision that meets all the requirements.
All right, can I get a motion that we approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Any more discussion? And I apologize for that, y'all. Any public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Item 13H, this is a front setback variance request for Edmondson. This is the 40-foot, the setback from 40 foot to 25.
Right. Correct. And what you see in the blue, that's the floodplain, the blue shading. Yeah, come on.
Aaron Blumberg and I'm representing Ms. Edmondson. So here's the packet. We're not just wanting to change it just to change it, to ask for variance. There is a hardship that is in place. We got lots of documents here. I'll be glad to look at and explain any of that to you.
I think I've already got mine by you.
Okay, I was just right here. So, for instance, on this lot, there's a 150-year flood line that nobody knew about just until recently. The 668 contour is what the Corps of Engineers has stated as a 150-year flood line. They don't give us a 100-year flood line; they give us 150-year, which is what FEMA accepts as the flood. Between the Zone X and the Zone A. And so this piece of property is either with the, toward the lakeside that you just can't build in that flood line. And so because it's long and narrow, and it's a 30-foot, we were sorry about the 25 foot, it's actually requesting a 30-foot because in the covenants of the subdivision, which I'll turn out a copy for you, it states in there that the front setback could be 30 feet, and so we're not going to do anything that would be less than what the covenants of the subdivision asked for. And so really just trying to gain a little extra room. I put some dimensions on there to let you kind of see what's only allowed to build in right there. But because of the floodplain, that's why Ms. Edmondson would like to just kind of get a little extra wiggle room in there. She's had this property for sale, and several times it's been dropped just because they find out that the house that they won't fit, because even in the flood line, even if your steps that are attached to your house fall inside that flood line, you potentially have to pay flood insurance, which could be thousands of dollars per year to pay flood insurance. And so that would give somebody a little more wiggle room for that lot. And it's also located on the very last lot, on Crawford's Ferry Road. It's not a heavily trafficked road. But that's the hardship. And I've got a copy of the original subdivision plat there, and the one that map that I prepared also. So, any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. It's actually part of Blue Water. But it is across the street as part of the phase 2 of the Blue Water.
Has the health department, I know that they approved the subdivision, but has Lily been engaged in any of this?
You can actually put the septic field within, if you see the septic buffer, so you can put some of your septic field within that, you just can't build any structure. So it's still able to, it's not really losing anything. I mean, it has been, already accepted and approved by the health department.
So how far down will the line come? You get this?
Yeah, so from the, from the right of way,
Yeah.
and it's from the center of the road, it's a 40-foot right of way. So from there, it'd be 20 foot plus an additional 30, which would be 50 feet from the center line. Right now, it's 60 feet. And so right now, between the flood line, the contour in there, like at this point right there, it's 41 feet, and then it gets narrower. It's a little wider here, but it just could use an extra little wiggle room, because that's your porch, your decks, everything that has to fit, inside that little area. So she's not just wanting to, just because it's just trying to ask for a little extra wiggle room. And I mean, there was, it was a dead end street, but y'all did on a request for a 25-foot step back on Brookhaven subdivision for septic reasons. So it's not something that's totally, never been asked for before.
The issue I have is, I know we've done some of the other subdivisions, but you're inside where the roads are. This is on an existing county road, and I see both sides to it. If we're going to grant variances, we might as well just change our whole setback ordinance. And the purpose of that is to try to maintain so that we ever have to widen roads or run water lines, if there's ever sewer or natural gas. And I understand there's a hardship here. But when you start giving out variances, inside a subdivision where a new road's being put, that's all the utilities are going to be there as part of that subdivision requirement.
I mean, honestly, the utilities are already located on it. The water lines are ran, everything's
On the subdivision.
Yeah, it's on our private,
Right.
our web system. So
But if the water authority comes back and says, well, we're going to take this over, we're going to upgrade that line, I don't know what kind of line's there.
I mean, I'd love to have county water everywhere.
I mean, it's eventually
kind of to get there. So, I mean, that is the absolute end of Crawford's Ferry before you get to the boat ramp. So,
Only people coming down there past that.
If you come forward, please. If you come forward.
My name's Pam Fields, and I just wanted to comment on it. We're working with the owner of this property. And the hardship, like Aaron was mentioning, is the fact that subdivision requirements were originally approved by the health department, and the square footage requirements have been impeded because of the 150-foot floodplain. It makes it challenging. And I could be wrong, but I believe that there are other structures that are allowed within that. And if the garage is added, what's the difference between the garage and the side of the house? So because of the hardship that she's been forced, we've gone through several contracts with this property and tried to get this sold for her, and it keeps coming up, and Aaron is a wizard with what things to follow all the guidelines, and it's been very hard to make this work. So that's why we're here, because we're at the point where we need the variance. And if you would consider the fact that garages are allowed, why wouldn't a house be allowed? And the fact that this is at the very end of Crawford's Ferry. I understand all the things that y'all have to deal with too. We don't want to just make this a free-for-all. But part of it is using common sense and understanding that if you're here for the residents and the hardship is not creating other hardships for other people. The county water, the private water system is there. The access to the ramp is still there. It's not impeding anything else. It's just allowing other people to come in and enjoy the lake. So we just ask you to think that through. Thank you.
Walter, have you had a chance to look at this? You haven't, have you?
I've looked at it, and I think that there certainly are some distinguishing features here that could authorize a variance without establishing a precedent. I mean, unless it was a dead exact precedent to that, which is not likely. but it's a matter of discretion with the board.
I mean, I don't have a problem doing a variance, but I mean, we just got to make sure we got good documentation as to why we do it. So, because there's going to come a time later on, somebody else is going to want one. They're going to be researching the minutes, and we got to make sure we specify the reason why.
And Mr. Gordon, can I ask if one of those reasons was the floodplain issue, is that one of the distinctive issues in this case?
I think that is something that you can consider.
Right.
Again, it's discretionary with the board, but, it's worthy of consideration.
What's meant by Zone X and Zone A?
That's a theme of information between what's considered, what you have to pay flood insurance and then what's outside the flood zone.
Can I ask a favor?
Yes, sir.
My understanding is floodplain director.
Yes.
As long as you don't have living space in that floodplain, you don't have to have insurance.
It's actually, when I do an elevation certificate.
The elevation of the floor.
Well, it's actually anything that's attached to the house. So even if your steps come down into the flood zone, you may not have to pay as much insurance, but there's still, because it's attached to the house, it's made it to, the insurance companies are made aware of that. So your insurance might not be as much, but they're very likely that you'll have to pay flood insurance. If it's outside the zone X, you don't have to pay flood insurance at all.
One of the houses that we had under contract, their insurance went up $4,000 just for the stairs.
Just for what?
Yeah,
Just for the stairs.
Yeah, and I've had another one on Tubular Heights, because their steps went into the flood zone that, the contract fell through, and that's exactly, they researched the flood insurance, and it was going to be, like I said, thousands of dollars per year to insure that, which is kind of crazy on a flood control lake. I definitely get that. So, but
it didn't help.
there are, the court, they did the best they could at the time. There are instances, I could go take you through one right now where the lake is on private property right now.
Well, part of it is the requirements of the square footage of that subdivision, which, when it originally started, it looked like it was going to be fine with the FEMA and things that have happened since.
Well, actually, the floodplain is came down. I seen we looked at the regular latest map. The floodplain map that just
Yeah, well, my conversations with FEMA in the past have been that unless the engineers will sign off on a 100-year flood study for like Harvard, Texas, so
they just completed that study by the
okay, well, that'd be fantastic, because right now all we've been given is a 668 contour, which is what the Corps of Engineers, they wrote a letter, to whom it may concern. That's what we have to submit when they submit elevation certificates, letters of map amendment to FEMA.
I'm just saying, you might well go back and look for the map.
Yeah, it would be fantastic if they did.
And we took 700 parcels out.
I think we need to table this. We got some more information we got to dig into. It's going to take time.
Can I stress something, and I don't know how much I'm able to say.
Yes, please.
I wondered, should I speak to Walter and not make it public comment?
Well, we're going to table it tonight anyway.
Well, that's fine, but then I can let it go after.
I'll make a motion.
I have a question, though. How'd the lake get so flooded? I'd like for y'all to do that everywhere.
I'll make a motion that we table this to give us more time to look at it.
I'll make myself available for any questions.
Is there a second to table?
I'll second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Dorsey and a second by Commissioner Sayer to table this, and we'll give you an answer at the next meeting. 2 weeks, give us time to look at it, because this is the first time we've seen this just here in front of us. So, any more discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. We'll table this to the next meeting. Motion carried unanimously. Can we keep these?
Yeah, I got two more if you would like to also.
You got one here? You got one late?
We just need one to have, so Terrell have it. We can all look at it in his office.
Yeah.
Okay, that completes the new business part of the agenda. Now we move into public comment. If anybody would like to come and address the board. Everybody for public comment? Not, can I get a motion that we adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Have a motion by Commissioner Sayer, a second by Commissioner Teasley that we adjourn. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously.